Ethan married me through force and coercion, yet after marriage, he treated me with utter indifference. He never held my hand, never embraced me, and we had no intimate life. After enduring this for 2 years, I finally laughed at my own frustration. Putting on lace pajamas, I sent him an anonymous text message. I adopted the rhetoric of a third party, using manipulative and flirtatious language. Sister isn't coming home tonight, she seems completely exhausted.
Welcome to listen to my full sweet love series novel. I'm the blogger and I'm Twilight's novel. Now let's start the main story.
He replied instantly. Who is this third wheel? Beep ding. The picture sent successfully too. He instantly crumbled. How do you have photos of my wife? I warn you, don't use such clumsy tactics. It's obviously photoshopped. Did you think I'd believe it? I looked at my stunning reflection in the mirror and smiled brightly. Yes, this was the feeling I wanted. Since childhood, my suitors had been as numerous as fish in a river. I'd always been the center of attention wherever I went. Yet after marriage, it felt like my heart had been sealed shut. I couldn't go out and have fun, and coming home to Ethan was like facing a block of wood. The thought alone was infuriating. I continued my provocation. Is deceiving yourself fun? If you don't believe me, call sister. See if she answers. The next second, my phone really rang. I swiped left to reject the call, then continued taunting. Oops, accidentally hung up. Sorry, brother, sister went to shower. Be understanding, don't disturb us. There was no reply for a long time. I actually went to take a shower. When I came out, my phone was buzzing incessantly. Raising an eyebrow, I answered. I thought he would confront me directly. But after a long wait, he didn't speak. If it weren't for the faint sound of breathing, I'd have thought he'd hung up long ago. What's the matter? I asked. Ethan's calm, detached voice came through. Mrs. Wong said your phone was unreachable. Oh, that. I replied. I was showering earlier. What's up? Ethan's breathing hitched for a moment. But he quickly covered it up. Nothing, Olivia. When are you coming back? As if realizing it sounded deliberate, he added, Mrs. Wong made your favorite crispy chicken tonight. She asked me to check with you. I almost laughed in frustration. Mrs. Wong, everything was always Mrs. Wong. Since our marriage, Ethan rarely initiated conversation with me. Any matters were always passed off as messages from Mrs. Wong. I might as well just live with Mrs. Wong. I said, there's something at the company. I won't be back tonight. I waited silently. Waited for his suspicion and questioning. I thought, even if Ethan didn't love me, facing the situation, his male pride would surely be bruised. I waited for him to angrily propose divorce. But after a hesitant pause, he only asked, what about tomorrow? What? He paused, his voice seemingly lower. Will you be back for dinner tomorrow? I thought I had misheard. Dazed, I hung up and received 2 text messages. I don't know what your goal is in trying to drive a wedge between us, but my wife said she's just busy with work. I know she's so outstanding that people outside will always try to seduce her, but she only loves me. Excuse me? The next day I went to work straight from the hotel. I spent a busy morning finalizing a proposal. Just as I stepped out of the meeting room, I overheard a colleague on the phone with her boyfriend. All right, I know. I'll be back early tonight. Don't be so clingy, okay? She sounded like she was complaining, but her tone dripped with sweetness. Hanging up, she turned to me, slightly embarrassed. Sorry about that. He's just like that. She then nudged me playfully, teasing. Unlike you, looking so charming. Your husband must keep you on a tight leash, right? Also, Ethan seems like the domineering type. He must be a possessive, jealous mess at home. I mumbled a vague response. But I couldn't bring myself to smile. After 2 years of marriage, Ethan was like an NPC. He hardly inquired about my life. Didn't touch me. He came home on time every day. Sat stoically on the sofa. Like a machine punching a time card. The stifling marriage gradually wore me down, slowly fostering thoughts of divorce. However, I recalled yesterday's events that nearly made my jaw drop. Hurrying back to my office, I started texting Ethan again. Office romances are so thrilling, just a wall separates us from footsteps, but inside it's only sister and me. Brother, when are you getting a divorce? Sister says she really likes me. You should step aside gracefully, right? There was no reply. My heart sank again. Staring at my phone, I gave a bitter laugh. He really didn't care about me after all. Better a sharp pain than a dull ache. I contacted a friend in the legal department. I asked her to draft a divorce agreement for me. Taking a deep breath, I pushed aside the jumbled thoughts and threw myself back into work. Until I heard hurried footsteps outside. And the secretary's call. Sir, you can't just go in. You need an appointment to see our manager. Followed by a familiar deep voice. I'm here to bring lunch for my wife. The next second, the door opened. Ethan walked in, his eyes scanning the entire office before finally relaxing, his gaze softening. Startled, I saw my secretary looking miserable behind him and signaled that he could leave this to me. Have you eaten yet? Ethan asked as he bent to open the lunchbox. I packed your favorite from Fragrant Delight. His words trailed off as his gaze fixed on my neck. What's wrong? He didn't speak, staring unblinkingly, a sheen of moisture seeming to appear in his eyes. Puzzled, I pulled out my compact mirror and saw faint red marks above my collar. This was normal. My skin was always sensitive. I had high requirements for accommodation and would get these marks if the environment didn't suit me. This is because... I began to explain, but he cut me off. Pursing his lips, he muttered, Don't say anything. I felt a surge of annoyance. Was he really that uninterested in understanding me? Poking the exquisite crystal shrimp dumplings in the box, I instantly lost my appetite. I closed the lunchbox, completely missing Ethan's gradually paling face. Don't like it anymore? He asked. Maybe people's tastes change, I replied flatly, unable to muster a smile, making up an excuse on the spot. Ethan stood beside me, silent for a long moment. When I finally looked up, he practically fled. I was baffled. Opening my phone, I saw he had replied an hour ago. My wife is young. She's just going through a phase. As for usurping my position? With me around, trash like you can forget about it. Don't let me find out who you are. You won't like the consequences. Tapping my chin, I slowly started to grasp the underlying meaning. Could it be? He liked me after all? But it didn't seem like it. For the next 2 weeks, Ethan actively avoided me. Even under the same roof, whenever our eyes met or I tried to speak, he would immediately walk away. As if I were some kind of plague. After several rounds of this, I grew increasingly irritated. What on earth was he playing at? Ethan was away on a business trip. I returned home and collapsed onto the bed. That restless feeling returned. It felt like it made no difference whether he came home or not. Anger surged. I grabbed my phone and started venting furiously. Sister smells so good, her waist is so slim too. Today she brought me home for the first time. Just found out you sleep in separate rooms. Why? Is brother not up to the task? Maybe it's different when you get older. Brother's almost 30, right? Not like me. Fresh out of college, I know how to please sister. This time, I left no room in my fabrication. Firstly, Ethan was abroad on a project I knew was complex. He probably wouldn't be back for half a month. With the distance, my boldness flared. I wasn't scared, but rather excited to provoke him. Secondly, I was genuinely furious. If he didn't like me, why go through such lengths to marry me? To be honest, barring any surprises, I should have married Ethan's brother, Liam. Back when the Joe and Ethan families arranged a marriage alliance, the elders initially favored Liam, not Ethan. This wasn't explicitly stated, but it was practically common knowledge. My parents, though their own marriage was arranged, had always had a good relationship. Naturally, they hoped my future partner and I would at least like each other. So they specifically allowed half a year for us to develop feelings. During that time, Liam and I interacted frequently, often dining out and having fun together. Whether we truly liked each other was uncertain, but I found him agreeable. But just before the engagement, the Ethan family suddenly faced internal turmoil. The marriage was naturally postponed, and my family began to reconsider. Until the new head of the Ethan family emerged. Until Ethan personally visited my parents to renegotiate the marriage alliance. I later learned that to secure this marriage, Ethan conceded an additional 10% in the final family asset division. In prominent families, asset division was fiercely contested. A single percentage point represented an unimaginable sum. At the time, many in our circle said he must have liked me for a long time, that this was premeditated. I thought so too. For me, it was an arranged marriage anyway. Changing the person didn't matter much. Just as long as two requirements were met. First, good looks. Second, he had to like me. Ethan happened to fulfill both, so I wasn't upset by this sudden change. On the contrary, I appraised him with the critical eye of a pursued suitor. Tall and well-built, handsome, though he seemed somewhat aloof. Just a facade, I thought. I liked contrasts, challenging people. Back then, he perfectly matched my aesthetic. I started paying attention to him, letting my fondness grow unchecked. Before the wedding, I held high expectations. But who could have imagined he really was just a block of wood? Every time I felt drawn to his handsome face and went to him with my pillow, his indifferent gaze would instantly kill any desire. Early in the morning, I heard the roar of a car engine outside. Rolling over, wanting to sleep more, I heard a knock on the bedroom door. "Olivia?" It was Ethan's voice. I jolted awake instantly. Why was he back? I checked my phone. The latest message was from 10 minutes ago. "You better hope I don't catch you." Had he come back to catch me cheating? Now I started to sweat. It was fun to be reckless in the moment, but how to salvage this now? Ethan knocked twice more. "Olivia, are you in there?" My mind was a tangled mess. I thought fine, maybe just confess. But how? Say I felt neglected, had a brain lapse, and tried to provoke him? Too embarrassing. On impulse, I decided to go all out. I yelled towards the door. "Hold on. Let me get dressed and wash my face." Then I started frantically rumpling the bedsheets, even pinching myself several times to leave marks. Mid-act, the sound of a key turning in the lock came from behind me. I turned to see Ethan standing there, his gaze dark. "Olivia, what are you doing?" Startled, I stepped back, knocking over the briefcase leaning against the headboard. Its contents spilled onto the floor. Ethan bent to pick them up before I could. His fingers froze on one particular document, his face instantly draining of color. I followed his gaze and saw it was a divorce agreement. I realized it must be the one my legal department friend drafted. She probably left it on my desk later, and buried under other files, I'd absent-mindedly packed it in my bag. Perhaps this was an opportunity. I thought, constantly guessing if he liked me was exhausting. I opened my mouth, ready to just say it. "Let's divorce." But Ethan snatched the document and bolted from the room. "I have things to attend to," he stammered. He fled as if chased, vanishing in an instant. I didn't see Ethan for the next 2 weeks. His assistant said he returned abroad to continue negotiations. The divorce agreement I hadn't even read was gone with him. I didn't understand what he meant. If he didn't want a divorce, why treat me so coldly? Ethan never argued with me, always polite. He came home on time almost every day when not traveling, gave me his credit cards. But what married couple lived like this? No holding hands, no embraces, no intimacy. Every day I opened my eyes to Ethan's detached gaze. A friend from our social circle said she was organizing a gathering. I initially wanted to decline, but I couldn't resist her enthusiasm. She called specifically, You. Ever since marrying, you hardly socialize. Does Ethan control you that strictly?" "But then again," she teased, "he adores you so much, finally managed to marry you, of course he'd want to keep you close. But you can't forget us." "How could I forget?" I laughed. Just been busy helping with the company these past 2 years. Hanging up, my smile faded. Ethan. Thinking of him always brought a wave of frustration. I pushed the chaotic thoughts aside, refusing to dwell. That evening, I arrived punctually at the booked private room. But I saw someone I hadn't expected. He looked at me just as I looked at him. It was Liam, the one I almost married. I turned my questioning gaze to the friend who organized the event. She squeezed my hand, mediating. "Oh, we're all friends. Liam just returned from abroad. Tonight's sort of a welcome back for him too." Liam smiled warmly. "Olivia, long time no see." I nodded in acknowledgement. Honestly, it was a bit awkward. But tallying up the messy accounts, none of the blame fell on me. He was the one who backed out of the engagement. He was the one who gained benefits. We really had no connection. Later, as I prepared to leave, Liam offered to drive me home. I declined, but he still followed me out. "Olivia," he called out, hesitating before asking softly, "Is he good to you?" The he was unmistakable. "And what position are you asking from? Someone who almost married me?" Liam paled. "Sorry, I didn't want to hear his explanation. "Stop. I'm not interested in your thoughts or excuses. We are strangers now. We all have our own lives. Exchanging greetings when we meet is the height of politeness. Anything more is presumptuous." I turned to leave, but Liam grabbed my arm. Caught off guard, I stumbled. He steadied me by the waist. Frowning, I tried to pull away. But over Liam's shoulder, under the streetlight, I saw Ethan. He stood there, gaze intense, a cigarette between his fingers, staring directly at us. Smoke curled around him, the ember glowing faintly. My breath hitched. It was the first time I'd seen Ethan smoke. He looked unbearably tense. Like a caged beast. The next moment, Ethan crushed the cigarette. He strode over, roughly pulled Liam away, and punched him squarely in the face. Liam stumbled back several steps, his face instantly swelling. He spat, a trickle of blood at the corner of his mouth. They were instantly locked in a fight. Both held nothing back, fists landing with brutal thuds. Finally, Liam went down first, gasping, face pressed to the ground, unable to rise. Ethan was bruised too, but he looked like a blood-hungry wolf, eyes savage and fierce, showing no sign of fatigue. He was always gentle, composed, and proper in front of me. I'd never seen him like this. "Ethan," I called out. He seemed to snap out of it, slightly relaxing, and asked, "Did you ask for a divorce because he's back?" "Ha!" I was stunned. "Ha, I should have known," he muttered, seemingly mocking himself. Despite his fierce glare, his eyes were red-rimmed. "Even after he abandoned you for gain, even after he's been gone nearly 3 years. You still can't see me, can you? I like you so much. Why do you only think of him?" I was bewildered by the turn of events, yet also dizzy from Ethan's unexpected confession. Stammering, I tried to explain, "No, I didn't." He wouldn't listen, his eyes red as he demanded, "Didn't what? Didn't like him?" Ethan's gaze fell on Liam's phone lying nearby. "It was you, wasn't it? The one sending me those provocative messages all this time?" Liam coughed after being kicked again. What? "Stop pretending," Ethan said coldly, nudging the phone with his foot before pulling out his own phone and tapping. Then, a message notification pinged. From inside my purse. This was supremely awkward. I froze, limbs locking up. Ethan slowly turned his gaze towards me, straightening up. I'd never felt such intense embarrassment in my life. Following Ethan upstairs, every step felt unsteady. I spent the whole journey rehearsing explanations, but they proved useless. The moment we entered, Ethan pinned me against the door and kissed me. I remembered my original intent and tried to speak. He only kissed me more fiercely. "Did you enjoy playing me? Watching me be so crazy about you?" My emotions tossed around, yet too scared to confront you. "Did it make you feel accomplished?" My foggy brain slowly processed his words. Once understood, I wanted to explode. Was this his unique way of showing affection? Saying nothing. How was anyone supposed to know? I started to retort, "I." He covered my mouth again. "Forget it. Don't speak. Play me if you want. At least you're willing to interact with me." He murmured, seemingly talking himself down. He pressed closer, wrapping himself around me, gradually steering us towards the bedroom. It was the first time he showed such intense possessiveness, savage and commanding. I was kissed breathless, utterly disoriented, forgetting all my prepared arguments. His hand slid down, hooking the strap of my pajamas. I shivered uncontrollably. In a haze, I heard his voice, ragged with desire. "Don't divorce me, okay? What's so great about Liam, that you'd go to such lengths?" I struggled to regain clarity, wanting to set things straight. But he held me too tightly. My hands pushing against his chest were futile, eventually pinned above my head, fingers interlaced with his, all strength sapped. The atmosphere in the room shifted. Amidst the wet sounds of kissing, I bit down on his tensed forearm. So hard. I felt a pang of self-pity. Overwhelming waves crashed over me. My last shreds of clarity faded. I closed my eyes helplessly, gasping, my lashes damp, until a sudden clap of thunder echoed outside the window. Ethan froze. He seemed to snap back to reality instantly, looking at me, a flicker of pain in his eyes. "I'm sorry." I was still recovering, cheeks flushed, eyes glistening. Ethan scrambled up, hands trembling as he straightened my clothes. His lips parted. "Olivia, Meeting my increasingly clear gaze, he suddenly covered his face, letting out a choked sob, seeming utterly lost. He resorted to his old tactic, turning abruptly to flee towards the door. He looked frantic, terrified, bumping into several pieces of furniture on his way out. I propped myself up on my elbows, wanting to call him back. In my haste, I knocked a dark red notebook with gold trim to the floor. As it fell open, I glimpsed my name written inside. It was a journal. I picked it up. Ethan's familiar handwriting filled the pages. She looked so beautiful today. Wanted to kiss her. So angry. Blame Liam. If only he'd disappear. Still can't sleep. Sneaked one of her tops. Smelled it all night. Later she came over with her pillow. Scared me to death. Luckily covered it with the blanket in time. She looked upset. Definitely still hates me. My mind went blank. Was this a communication breakdown? This entry must be from early in our marriage when I went to him because... I bit my lip and kept flipping. My wife smells divine. Dreamt of her last night. Adore her. Why won't she look at me? Remembered what Liam said before leaving. Stop. Can't dwell. I'm the one beside her now, aren't I? Got an anonymous text today. Is it true? Don't dare ask. If she brings it up, what if she asks for a divorce? Saw marks on my wife's neck. Office play? How? I'll kill him. My wife smiled at me today. Thrilled. But she seemed to want to say something. Divorce? Didn't dare meet her eyes. Must be that homewrecker poisoning her mind. She's young. Beautiful. Innocent. She's perfect. It's the scheming seducer whispering lies. Reading this left me with mixed feelings. Ethan had so much internal drama. What script was he following? The tormented husband? Because of the journal, I became curious about the specifics of the marriage negotiation back then. Ethan had vanished. I decided to visit Liam, still recovering in the hospital. I walked straight in. What exactly did you say to your brother before you left the country? Thought you might at least ask how I am first. Liam, bandaged up, looked crestfallen. Seeing my seriousness, he answered honestly. I was furious about being forced out. He was stealing the marriage arranged for me. So I told him you said you loved me most, that he was almost 30 old and you'd never like him. I was stunned. Just because of that. Liam paused, then added, it was just bluster initially, but he seemed genuinely devastated. Seizing the chance, I suggested he be your Liam substitute. Brothers share some resemblance, right? He chuckled. Seeing you like this, Olivia, seems marital bliss hit a snag. Related to my words. I sneered. You're truly despicable. I turned to leave. Liam called out from behind. Olivia, I'm leaving the country again soon, probably in a day or two. Due to agreements within the family conflict, Liam couldn't stay long domestically. I didn't turn back. Didn't stop. What does that have to do with me? After retrieving my car from the parking garage and confirming with Ethan's secretary he was at the office, I headed straight there unannounced. Seeing me enter, Ethan shot up, stumbling backward in panic, tripped over his office chair, and fell back into it. Considering his inner thoughts, I laughed in exasperation. Hiding. I strode over, planting my hands on the armrests of his chair, looking down at him. I had so much I wanted to say. I wanted to ask why he never asked about my feelings. Why he liked me but never told me. He always avoided things. Everyone said he adored me, Yet it left me tossing and turning. I had so many words, but seeing the glistening tears welling in his reddened eyes, they faded away. He trembled violently, a flush creeping up his neck, his voice hoarse. "Are you here to ask for a divorce?" As he spoke, he finally met my gaze. A tear rolled down. He seemed genuinely terrified. I felt a lump form in my throat. I thought, forget it. Maybe I wasn't the only one bad at expressing myself. My life before marriage had been smooth sailing. Affluent family, striking looks, always pampered and admired. I was used to being pursued. So after marriage, I kept waiting for Ethan to approach me, sulking when he didn't. He pretended, so I pretended harder. We never truly opened up. He didn't confess his feelings. I never explained my history with Liam. Sighing, I leaned down and hugged him. "Divorce was never the plan," I said. "Is it possible that while you loved me, I loved you too?" Ethan's eyes widened in disbelief. "You?" "I saw the journal in your room." Honestly, I didn't know what to say. Someone who usually seems so composed, yet acts like such a resentful husband? Ethan looked flustered, his face reddening. "Does it disgust you?" "Ha!" My expression conveyed confusion. He stammered. "I stole your clothes. I'm so jealous." "If anything repels me," I said, "it's why you didn't express your feelings sooner. You fought for this marriage, but marrying you was my choice. I waited for you to come closer, but you acted so cold." I complained. "Everyone said you adored me, but I couldn't feel it." Slowly, doubts crept in. The texts came from frustration. Why should I be the only one tossing and turning? "Not at all," I interrupted gently. "The only thing that ever bothered me was why you never showed it." He lifted his tear-streaked face, looking utterly lost. "But I tried. So hard not to overwhelm you." "By being a block of wood?" I teased, brushing a tear from his cheek. "Ethan, I married you willingly." I waited. I hoped you'd reach for me. "I thought you preferred Liam," he confessed, his voice raw. "I saw how you smiled at him back then. I convinced myself being distant was better than being rejected." My heart ached. That was politeness, not preference. "And you? You fought for me. You conceded 10%. Everyone said you adored me. Yet you seemed indifferent," I whispered, the old hurt resurfacing. "No touches, no intimacy. Coming home just to sit silently. I thought I'd imagined everyone's words." He flinched. "I was terrified," he admitted hoarsely. "Terrified one wrong move, one moment of weakness, would make you leave. Terrified I wasn't young or charming enough, like Liam said." "So you played the perfect, distant husband?" "I played the fool," he corrected, a flicker of self-loathing in his eyes. "Trapped in my own head. Jealous of shadows. Stealing your scarf to breathe you in like some pathetic thief." His raw vulnerability undid me. "No more," I declared, framing his face with my hands. "No more hiding, Ethan. From now on you tell me. You show me." Hope, fragile and bright, sparked in his eyes. "Even the intensity?" he asked hesitantly. "The jealousy? The wanting?" "Especially the wanting," I affirmed, leaning in until our breaths mingled. "Show me the real you, the man who fought for me. The man who writes jealous diaries." A choked laugh escaped him. "You read it all?" "Every word," I confirmed, tracing his jaw. "Liam was wrong. Age isn't a flaw. Your restraint drove me mad." "Restraint?" His gaze darkened, intensity flooding back. "There was nothing restrained about how I felt, Olivia. Every day was agony. Seeing you, wanting you, fearing I'd shatter the fragile peace." "Shatter it," I challenged softly, my lips brushing his. "Stop fearing me. Stop fearing yourself." His control snapped. He surged forward, capturing my mouth with a possessive hunger that stole my breath. This kiss held none of yesterday's frantic anger, only desperate relief and long-denied passion. His hand slid down my back, pressing me flush against him, erasing any lingering space between us. The cool leather of the office chair pressed against my back as he leaned me into it, his body a heated weight. His kisses trailed from my lips to my jaw, down the sensitive column of my throat, each touch branding me. "Mine," he murmured against my skin, the word vibrating through me. Finally, truly mine. No thunder came to interrupt us this time. Only the soft sighs, the rustle of fabric, and the escalating rhythm of our shared desire filled the quiet office. Later, tangled together on the plush sofa he kept for late nights, the city lights painting patterns on the ceiling, he traced idle circles on my shoulder. "The divorce papers," he began, his voice rough with sleep and satisfaction. "I tore them up. Over the Atlantic. Scattered the pieces." I nestled closer, breathing in his unique scent. Cedarwood and something warm and fundamentally Ethan. "Good." "Mrs. Wong never asked about dinner," he admitted softly. "I used her as an excuse. Every time. Because I was too afraid to admit I just wanted you home." I laughed, the sound light and free. "I know. I think I always knew." "The texts," he started, a hint of the old insecurity creeping back. I silenced him with a kiss. A desperate ploy by a neglected wife to get her husband's attention. A genuine smile, bright and relieved, transformed his face. It worked. He pulled me tighter, his embrace no longer a cage, but a sanctuary. "Never doubt this, Olivia. Never doubt that I fought for you, married you, and will spend every day proving why I was worth the fight." His hand slid under my chin, tilting my face up to meet his earnest gaze. "You are my most treasured victory. My greatest love." The cold, distant CEO was gone. In his place was the man from the diary. Passionate, possessive, and utterly devoted. And as his lips met mine again, under the soft glow of the office lamp, I knew. The game of secret whispers was over. Our real love story had finally begun.
Ethan's POV Epilogue. The Ethan family succession was a brutal crucible. Ethan thrived in its structured chaos, his life a meticulously planned algorithm until the day he walked into the Zhou family's moonlit garden. Olivia stood beneath the wisteria, laughing at something Liam said. The scent of night-blooming jasmine, the warmth of the breeze he usually filtered out, they slammed into him with the force of her presence. His carefully ordered world tilted. He coveted that laugh, that light. He saw Liam mirror his own awe, and a fierce, primal jealousy ignited within him. He knew strategy, calculation, domination, but love felt like a vulnerability he couldn't afford. Yet, the thought of Olivia belonging to another was an agony worse than any boardroom defeat. He fought not just for the company, but for her. Conceding 10% of his birthright felt like shedding armor, exposing his most vital part. Liam's parting shot, that Olivia preferred youth, charm, him, embedded itself like shrapnel. So Ethan built walls. Distance became his shield. He became the perfect, untouchable husband present, providing, passionless. Or so he thought. The stolen scarf, hidden under his pillow, was his secret shame. The diary entries were screams trapped behind clenched teeth. Every anonymous text was a knife twisting in the wound Liam had carved. Seeing her with Liam outside the restaurant, the casual intimacy of his hand on her waist, it shattered the last vestiges of his control. The fight was pure, feral terror. The discovery that Olivia was the phantom tormentor. It broke him open. The raw confession poured out, a dam bursting. Her touch, her acceptance, her revelation of shared feelings. It was a bomb, a revelation, a rebirth. He learned a new algorithm. Honesty over strategy. Touch over distance. The hunger he'd suppressed now had a name. Love returned. As he held Olivia in the quiet aftermath of their intimate encounter, her head resting on his chest, he traced the delicate curve of her ear. "The journal," he murmured, the old embarrassment a faint echo. "You truly don't mind?" She tilted her head up, her eyes soft in the moonlight filtering through the blinds. "Mind? Ethan. It's the most romantic, infuriatingly sweet thing I've ever read." A low chuckle rumbled in his chest. Sweet? I believe pathetic and obsessive also featured. "Passionate," she corrected, kissing his jaw. "Devoted. Mine." The word sent a jolt of pure possession through him. He rolled, pinning her gently beneath him, bracing his weight on his elbows. "Always yours," he vowed, the intensity in his gaze leaving no room for doubt. "Every jealous thought, every stolen breath of your scent, every desperate want. It's all yours." He kissed her slowly, deeply, pouring years of silent longing into the connection. "I spent so long fearing the storm," he whispered against her lips, "never realizing you were the calm I craved." The walls were gone. The secret language of fear and longing was silent. In its place was a new vocabulary, spoken in touches, shared breaths, and the quiet certainty of two hearts finally beating in sync. His long-cherished wish wasn't just fulfilled. It bloomed, radiant and real, in the warmth of Olivia's embrace.